game, Crowan. Is there any surprises as far as who is kind of hovering at the bottom, maybe?
Oh yeah, definitely Voltairix hovering at the bottom with 6 points right now is a huge surprise to, I think, a lot of people coming into day 2 today as one of the favorites to perhaps win this tournament. Going to need to see some improvements in performance from him in the next few games.
There are a lot of EU fans that are standing behind him, hoping that he will take the #1 spot. Another one, Zhuangzi, if we're looking at this player, Becca, he was able to pull a lot of victories yesterday. And it seems like today, even though he was able to make the top 4 in the second game, kind of a reliance going towards the mech as well as Space Pirates we saw before. Do you think that Zhuangzi will be able to turn it around and try and get some of that domination that he showed earlier in the lobby yesterday?
Well, he's definitely shown that he's capable of winning lobbies, so I don't think we can count him out, especially with the way the point system works. But yeah, definitely EU showing up big time. I mean, with the exception of Volt, maybe Caster Curse for everyone favoring him here. Just Lev and Devil, they're killing it.
And as far as the game to come, Becca, you and I are going to step away, but Crowan and Primal will be taking the reins as we go into game number 3.
Oh man, and what a way to take it away. We have a spatula full carousel with the Big Bang Galaxy Primal. Oh man, what's going through your head when you see something like this?
What's going through my head is we're going to have at least several people forcing cybers and trying to make Infiltrator Aurelia a thing, and at least one person is going to be going for Master Yi reroll. It's interesting, right? Because this is Big Bang, which already combines 3 galaxies, and then we also basically got Manatee Galaxy through this first carousel, so this is going to be a funny game.
True, we had last game, I believe it was the, Nicoverse, but just for AlphaGo, but now it's Manatee for everybody on top of this. I don't think we've seen, we haven't, out of the first couple of games, anyone go for that Master Yi composition, but if you see a spat start here, you're definitely going to be looking towards that, or at least considering it. Cybers as well, though, as Cybers has been one of the compositions that people have been favoring a lot. Do you think that I guess you do think that we'll be seeing a lot more of that?
I think we'll be seeing a lot of it. I don't know if we'll be seeing a lot more because I think some players kind of had a hard game from trying to run Cybers super contested last time. And I think now everyone realizes because Cybers is so good on this Galaxy, it's going to be contested. So you might see some people try to pivot into things that counter Cybers. Like I'd like to see more people play Star Guardians. You could even choose to make a Star Guardian spat or a Protector spat if you want to try to snowball early. So I'm curious to see how people read the past few games and make adjustments.
True. I don't think we traditionally usually see either Star Guardian or Protector spats that much recently, at least from what I've noticed. Have you sort of seen the same?
Sometimes I see some weird stuff, like people run Protector Darius or Shaco early, just because those are actually really strong win streak units who you can make, and Protector Spat is not the greatest spat late game, but it'll help you save a lot of HP and generate a lot of income mid and early. So sometimes I see that. Star Guardian Spat, though, I agree, you see it less often, and then some people will just keep it simple and make a Force of Nature.
Oh, true. I think we'll definitely see a lot of Force of Nature this game, especially with that Treasure Trove component of Big Bang. A lot of loot orbs. Will be definitely seeing some more spats. Zhuangzi, though, as we see here, has the good Cyber start, but it's not a composition that he has really played too much, though. I wonder if he's comfortable with that or not.
Yeah, he's got to be comfortable with it as a high-level player. I was actually a little disappointed to see Zhuangzi play mech last game because I don't think mech is particularly good on Treasure Trove, because I think a lot of comps utilize items better because there's not that many different carries in mech. I guess if you get good Shaco items, he can kind of be your third carry. So I'd like to see Zhuangzi sort of read the lobby a little bit better and sort of play something that he is maybe not quite as good at, but is more appropriate for the complexion of the lobby. But yeah, what do you feel about sort of the composition choices he's been making? Because we've only really seen him play 2 comps.
Yeah, there's a lot of day 1, just mech and pirates. We did see him play 1 game of Star Guardians, but even that seemed a little bit shaky, at least to me. He was at 4 HP, about to go 8th, but barely hung on. I believe it was a 7-round win streak to get up to 3rd. He has shown that he is willing to play other compositions, but still maybe isn't as comfortable as he would like to be. Cyber composition, though, I was talking a little bit earlier to Doa about. It's one that's pretty easy to pilot. There's not too many things that you're going to get confused focused on there. And of course, all these players are going to know how to run these things, being, you know, top level players and representing their regions at the World Championships here.
For sure. And right now, man, he's hitting these cybers. So at least for the mid game, he's a cybers player. We'll see if he chooses to leave that later in the game due to either comfort or too many people playing it. But generally with cybers, if you can get the early Leona and the Fiora, wow, that's a really great signal. Oh, wow. Okay. So he chooses to just play the Vayne straight up, which I actually like. It's easy enough to get the Lucian. You're not going to need the Lucian until you're looking to run 6 cybers anyway. And even by then, you might already have Aurelia and Echo. I like this play because he gives him Sniper, gives him a stronger early board, and he goes level 5, which you can do on Treasure Trove variants, and just try to win streak as hard as humanly possible. So I like it, Zhuangzi. Keep it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is so aggressive. I don't know if we've actually seen anyone go to level 5 on 2-2 this entire tournament. Usually people are going to 5. It's going to be after the stage 2 carousel, maybe 1 round before, like on 2-3 here. But Zhuangzi doing it so early, even opting to sell the Lucian pair in order to do that. I guess he really prioritizes this win streak here. Is struggling to see whether he wants to play the Graves or the Poppy, you know, the Vanguard synergy over just a tier 2 unit, but is choosing to sell and hopefully even make econ. Wow, it's just actually so much gold here.
Yeah, he's so rich. He's so rich. And yeah, that was an interesting decision. Arguably, the Graves is a little bit better. It kind of depends on how much physical damage there is early, because Poppy doesn't really do all that much at 1 star. But this allows him to make money, so it's actually not as all-in as one would think. The beautiful thing about, you know, Big Bang and Treasure Trove is you get so much gold that you can afford to play aggressively and not put yourself all in. So I like this play from Zhuangzi. I like it a lot.
Definitely. I think it's a bit calculated. If you're going to want to just play strongest board, not care about your econ, then you might play that Graves, but thinking, okay, I'm strong enough to still win streak, being at level 5 before everybody else, so I can choose to sell the Graves, play Vanguards, which is still a solid synergy, and be rewarded kind of in both ways there.
Yeah. Crone, did Pobe just make a Rebel spat straight up? I think that's what we saw.
You know, I believe so. That is interesting. We see 4 Rebel synergy on that left-hand side there. Pobe committing super early to that. Do you like committing a Rebel spat this early in the game?
I do not like committing Rebel spat this early in the game, but because here's the thing with Rebels. It's just not really an S tier comp. It really struggles late game versus some of the more traditional comps, and particularly on this Galaxy, where the more traditional comps are going to hit their items and probably their units as well. I think he's going to fall off. That said, you know, Pobe, he knows he needs multiple games in order to hit that 18-point threshold. So he only really needs to top 4 from here. He doesn't need a first necessarily. So I think it's a decent play for a top 4, maybe a top 3 if you high roll the Jinx and the Gangplank items. But yeah, this is pretty unorthodox. This is pretty different, and I like it.
Speaking of high rolling, Pobe here has 8 Ziggs at 2-5, so probably going to hit that in the very near future. Not going to be, you know, that Shaq and Kobe style composition that we saw before that blue buff change, but still 1 blue buff there is going to be pretty strong, especially once Pobe finds a Rumble as a bit of a frontline and for that Demolitionist buff. Going to be huge there.
Yeah. And you know what? I was wrong, Crone, because if he already has this many Ziggs, he figures, all right, I'm just going to play a Ziggs 3 early game, and maybe I can streak so hard that late game it just doesn't even matter that I'm playing one of the weaker comps. So, you know what? I think this is actually a really smart play and shows that he's actually just willing to play what he's given. I'm pretty sure Pobe didn't go into the Big Bang planning to play Kate reroll last game, but that's what he hit. He's flexible as a player, so he can sort of just pivot accordingly.
I think that's a super good point. I think the flexibility of Pobe here is being demonstrated immensely. I'm sure you didn't go into those games, you know, prepping for that Caitlyn. You didn't go into this game prepping, oh, I'm going to get 8 Ziggs, you know, by 2-5. But here we are. Also a good point that you brought up about not needing to first place yet, you know, not at 18 points, just needs to get some solid placements to be able to get that first later on. But I mean, Pobe has definitely shown that he can, you know, win games, came really close to it last game, which is why I say that. Of course, he didn't end up winning, but still has that capability for sure.
And Crone, one thing that's interesting here is, first of all, Zhuangzi, he did drop around. Zhuangzi's actually not that strong. You can see he's even struggling right here where Pobe is level 4 and almost beating him. I do think he's going to lose. But Pobe, despite him win streaking, is choosing to stay at 4. presumably because he wants to slow roll or hyper roll and hit that Ziggs. Maybe he's also looking to hit the Malphite. So it's interesting that he chose not to lean into his win streak there, because he could have generated a lot of gold going into this round.
He definitely could have. Maybe it would have been more worth it, because even on level 5, like, you're probably going to hit that Ziggs 3 eventually. Being on 4 does give you, you know, that 15%, I believe, more chance to find 1-cost units in the shop, because it goes down to 40 at level 5. But, like, I don't think the Malphite 3 is something that, you know, personally I would commit for. Once you hit that Ziggs, you can push levels, find those jinxes, go to level 8 and 9. We were talking about the fact that this Rebel composition does struggle to find wins, but one of the win conditions is going to level 8 and level 9 and finding, like, a Gangplank 2 to really carry your late game there. So I'm not sure if I quite agree with this from Pove, but it's still working out decently well. Still has about 40, you know, almost 50 gold. Now he does.
Yeah, I agree. You know, not only is the Malphite 3 not super impactful, and he only had, I think, 4 Malphites at the time. In addition to that, he had a huge win streak that he could have carried forward. So yeah, he is going to hit the Ziggs now. He did some re-rolling, but it's kind of a weird play because he's got 6 rebels right now, which is awesome. But he's going to be able to win streak now. He could have been win streaking already and made a lot more gold. But I think he's still in a really comfortable position. You're never mad about 98 HP.
No, you're not. Going up against AlphaGo here. AlphaGo is the only player to still be on 100 HP, fully win streaking. That Death Blade Lucian 2 with red buff as well might even beat the 6 Rebel early power spike here we see from Pove. It's gonna be close.
Yep. Lucian's a good unit.
Okay.
Not good enough though. So I guess him hitting that 3-star is basically the difference maker in this particular fight. But yeah, AlphaGo wins level 6, right? So Bobe is actually under leveled relative to some of the people we're facing. The first time he was under leveled and he got punished, but not this time. So he's still in a pretty comfortable spot. And I guess, Crone, when you look at the Ziggs, do you think that's just a unit you keep all games, sort of like you used to in the old Shaq and Kobe comp?
I think so. The only argument would be to perhaps drop it for an Aurelian Soul 2, but I think that's only really if you have Ludens. Like, with the blue buff, it's not going to be insanely powerful for an Aurelian Soul, and I think Ziggs will get more value out of that. He's going to be casting very often. You're going to have Demolitionist synergy in there, so he'll be stunning out, you know, a lot of frontline units there.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that Pove's also choosing not to commit a red buff right now, just for the win streak. I know that if you're playing this comp, you ideally want 2 chains, one for the red buff and one for the Guardian Angel. But that said, you know, in this Galaxy, it's pretty easy to get another chain. So I'd actually like to see him consider just slamming a red buff for the Jinx, because presumably he's not going to be making Morellos, otherwise he would have already made it. So I'm curious to see why he's holding on to items.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, the aggressiveness of slamming the Rebel spat, you would think that the red buff would be slammed. Maybe just thinking it's not value enough right now, and maybe if, you know, say theoretically he gets the sword from the next carousel, could make a GA for a bit of a better power spike right now, because you're not going to have any blasters to spread that red buff. Like we see Slooper here actually have that red buff on the Ezreal and the Graves for that blaster bonus.
Yeah, and it looks like Slooper might be going for a Battlecast reroll game here. This is also a popular comp to go for when you get a spat. You make a early Battlecast spat, which is actually fantastic early because it allows you to get 4 Battlecast. Extremely strong synergy in stage 2 and 3. But unfortunately, he hasn't hit any Kog'Maws yet. So he's really far from hitting 9 Kog'Maws. He's going to have to rely on a Lowy, Nocturne, and Malphite to do work. But the good news is he's one off of the Graves 3. So he'll have the units to sort of carry until he eventually hits a Cog. And at this point, he might just say, you know what, we're not going to be hitting Cog 3 anytime soon. I'm just going to push levels after I hit my other 3 stars.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be what Slooper is going to lean towards. And I actually want to highlight just a small decision that Slooper made this game. He started the game off with a spatula on that Alawi. And what he's going to want to do here, assuming he is going to continue forward with this Battlecast line, is going to make that Battlecast spat on the Alawi to pop it off, you know, not have to find one more Alawi because he would have sold that initial one. So I think it's just some really good minute decision making here that could end up going a long way if he's able to find that Alawi soon and start win streaking, because he does need to start win streaking soon. No Kog'Maw is a little unfortunate. He's already at 49 HP right now.
Yeah, and Slooper needs some big wins. He doesn't have that many points right now. He has 9, but other people are closing in on that 18-point threshold. So I think from this point, I'm glad that he's found a comp that he wants to commit to, but I would like to see him play a little bit more with what he's given and look for a higher placement, because now if he starts low rolling and starts not hitting his units, he's going to struggle to get the points that he needs. But he did hit that Graves 3. He is going to stabilize, I think, off of that Graves 3. He can make the battle class spat, throw that on the Graves this round, and get it back off of Allow It for free. And Graves is super, super good with battle class spat, can do a lot of damage and get really, really tanky. So I think he's going to stabilize now.
Yeah, I would hope so. Slooper is interesting. Okay. Yeah, man. It's going to actually probably prove to be detrimental in terms of losing this round here. Juan Z with those cybernetics actually already committed to a Blade Master Vayne there. Blade Master and Last Whisper. Graves blinding her out for a little bit there, but Slooper takes another loss, and a pretty big one at that. So now I was going to highlight the fact that Slooper is comfortable with going Battlecast. He went Battlecast in game number 1 and got 5th place there. Hopefully be able to get a little bit better here, but man, it's still looking rough, Primal. What do you like? What do you think when you're in this position and you're 40 HP before Wolves, maybe even going to be lower potentially? Would you want to have seen him spend gold more aggressively to find that Kog'Maw earlier, or kind of what direction would you have gone there?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's going into the creep round. He has a huge loss streak, so he's probably not going to spend now. But the moment he gets to 4-1, he needs to drop some gold and push some levels. I don't think he should go for Cog at this point. He should just probably try to pick up the Alawi, also pick up the Malphite or Nar2, whichever one he hits. And then he wants to get 6 Battlecast in ASAP. The saving grace for him is that he does have a Battlecast spat, so he does not need Urgot in order to go 6 Battlecast. He just needs the Cassiopeia and the Victor, and Urgot would be a nice high roll. And then I think he can stabilize from that point. But unfortunately, with this amount of HP and not amazing items, I think he's playing for top 4 already.
Yeah, I think so, which might end up being okay. No one's within threat of ending it all right here. We will at least see a game number 4. Levdi, who is at the top of the lobby in terms of standings, is only at 16 points right now. But Shoemaker kind of taking a page out of Pobe's book from the last game. This is very interesting. Is this going to work out as well as Pobe's comp did?
I don't know. I mean, I think his items are a little bit better, actually, because I think generally when you're playing this comp, you want like something like a Runon's Deathblade Kate is super strong when she's at 3 stars. She just hits like an absolute truck. He already has the Runons there. He has an extra bow in case he just chooses to go to Giant Slayer or something else. So I think he's actually in a comparable spot. I don't know. Honestly, I don't play this comp enough to know sort of what happens if you don't hit all 5 3-stars like Pobe did last game. I'm pretty sure you can't take a first or even a top 2 without them. And he's a little bit farther away. But I think his items are a little bit better than Pobe's were.
Yeah, I do think so. I'm not very familiar with this, or piloting this comp myself, but choosing to make double Rage Blade on the Ashe there and taking a huge hit. Slooper spent enough gold to find those 3 stars, has made a red buff and a Shiv on the Kog'Maw, and that dealt so much damage. That's really good for Slooper to stabilize, but really bad for Shoemaker to take that large hit there. Has another item. I don't... Oh, no, actually, maybe that's...
Oh, he has an item!
Go ahead.
Shoemaker, pick it up! Pick it up! Oh,
wait,
I was hoping it was a sword. You ever have that moment where it's like you got so many items and you forgot one mid-fight, and then you pick it up and you realize it's the one you need? I have those moments for sure. But it's great that Showmaker is starting to hit his stuff. It's kind of weird to me that he slammed double Rage Blade, but I guess he's thinking, okay, if I can get a Shojin's on this Ashe and just keep her safe, she's going to perma-stun entire teams. Triple Zephyr, you hate to see that.
Triple Zephyr, wow.
Oh man!
Oh man! It hits so many of the good units there. It hits the Ashe with the 2 items. It hits the Jarvan and the Rakan frontline. Oh man!
Oh, that's a money triple Zephyr. As Shoemaker at this point, you just gotta focus on not getting tilted, because it's like, what can you even do there, right? I doubt Levdi was even focusing him. It's just the thing is, when you have triple Zephyr, you're guaranteed to hit at least one good thing. So that was a bit of a low roll for Shoemaker. Pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. But I love the transition over here to watch Lev D. Lev D has played so well in the first couple of games and is continuing to do so right now in game number 3 at the top of the lobby on a 9-win streak right now. Push levels very aggressively. Still has 40 gold, level 8 on 4-3, triple Zephyr. Lev D's putting himself in a spot where he could win this lobby potentially.
He could. My only concern with Lev D, and I don't think it's a mistake to play this way, given that he already has 16 points, he only needs a few more, is that it's going to be hard for him to take a first because he has triple Zephyr. I'm guessing he just got way too many belts and too many cloaks, but he doesn't have many swords or bows to actually itemize damage on Vayne. So I think he's going to start to fall off heavily late game unless he gets a really, really good set of items from the next PvE round. But again, Lev D, he understands what his win con, which is I don't need to win, I just need to make a few points. Honestly, he doesn't even need to top 4. So I love the way that Lev D is playing right now, just saving as much HP as possible to guarantee the chance that he gets the additional 2 points he needs to unlock his win condition.
Definitely. I really like that insight, because maybe, you know, Lev D will fall off late game and wouldn't be able to get a win, but he doesn't need a win right now. He just basically needs a couple more points and then be able to win during the next game. There is still the fact that this is treasure trove, so you'll get a lot of components from the Raptors round. He does pick last in the carousel, so no sword yet. I believe he picked up a vest there on that Soraka. Has a gangplank in the shop, but doesn't need that in this composition here. Finds Aurelia though, that's good. Oh, actually, there he has Aurelia too, never mind. He's actually super ahead.
Yeah, he is. And he has 2 Force of Natures, actually. So, man, that's he could just pretty much throw units at the problem. He's like, all right, I don't have good items, but I'm just gonna keep throwing bodies at you. I'm gonna win through a war of attrition. So I like the fact that Lev D is just playing around the fact that he's honestly kind of low rolling in terms of comp and matching comp to items. But I think he's doing some creative stuff. Like, in addition to having the triple Zephyr, he's also playing a Blitzcrank. So, I mean, if you're his opponent and you look at his board, you're like, I'm not even going to try to outposition this guy, because no matter what, I'm going to get screwed. So Lev D, not only playing for his win condition, which is just he needs 2 points, also being a psychological terrorist for the rest of the lobby.
Oh, definitely. Like, you're gonna position against, you know, Lev D specifically is gonna mean you're gonna ruin your position for everybody else just so much, so not wanting to put too much investment there. Zephyr is gonna be hitting no matter what. Even has a Fizz too to just chill on the bench. Thresh is gonna be pulling that in. It's pretty fortunate that he is able to have hit a Thresh at this point, have that Aurelia too. Of course, he's a couple of Vaynes away from tier 2 there. But still, like, really good way to play the game so far with the items that he did get.
Absolutely, and you know, it's kind of funny because he is contested here. So there is also the problem of, will you hit any Vaynes at this point of the game? So I think at this point, Lev D is probably just going to look to not focus so much on, you know, the comp and what synergies he wants, because he can pretty much fit whatever he needs. And I expect to see him throw some random units that he hits, like random 4 costs and 5 costs. You know, if you roll down and you hit a Jin, we're playing a Jin, right? Because it doesn't really cost him anything in terms of synergies. And just secure the highest placement he can. So really creative. I wonder what his plan is for that tier and that chain. I guess he figures maybe I can make some nice utility items like a Redemption, which is super good in Cybers. So yeah, he's showing how to play a low roll basically.
Yeah, definitely. Lev D, actually, speaking of Jin, had a couple of Jins in the last shot, bought them, rolled again, but ended up selling them, so isn't going to want to quite go that route. We'll see what items that Lev D gets from these Arc Raptors, because it's so important, talking about the need of BF swords. Is he going to get one here? Is this Vayne going to actually be able to be itemized well enough to carry? We'll find out in just a second here.
Let's see. We got bow, we got another belt, rod. Oh no, these items suck.
They really do. You hate to see it if you're Lev D right now. Do you slam like Rage Blade on Vayne? Like, what do you do at this point with these items?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you just throw up your hands. You say, we're making lockets. I'm gonna throw a Rage Blade on Vayne maybe, and try to get another decent item off of Carousel. I'd like to see him make a Frozen Heart and actually just put it on. I would like to see it make a Frozen Heart and just put it on Fizz and play Fizz, but I guess he can't fit Fizz in if he wants to keep 4 Chrono. So Redemption makes a lot of sense too. But this is like the thickest, tankiest comp I've ever seen, but has 0 damage whatsoever.
Yeah, unfortunate. Making the Titan's Resolve and that Lucian there. These items are so unfortunate. Volteriux, though, playing that Xayah Shredder Blade Master composition, and it looks so strong, actually. A lot of 3 stars there, and Volteriux took that round super decisively.
Yeah, and Volteriux, he's been having an uncharacteristically poor day so far. Nice to see him rallying. He's up there, 2nd place in HP. You know, as Mort noted, comps like this that are only slightly better than, you know, the more meta non-reroll comps are not necessarily optimal in Big Bang. However, if you hit the comp early enough, you can sort of snowball and then go late, find random 5 costs, get a Thresh 2, and make a strong bench. So I'm curious to see how Volteriux makes sure that his comp keeps pace with everyone else in the lobby.
Yeah, we will see. Checking back in with Pobe here, though. Ooh, not really putting in the unit that he wanted, I believe. Maybe wanted to put in a Fizz instead, not sure. But either way, this Ziggs now has 3 items and is only a Jinx 1 with a Blade Master Spatula and a Runans. That's not going to be super optimal as we see Volteriux again, but this time decisively taking down Pobe. Pobe dropping at 20 HP. A little bit worrying right now. Like, does have a Gangplank, but not a lot of gold, though.
Yeah, you know, I think this just shows how, you know, a comp that used to be good, it can fall off majorly, and there's a reason why Kobe and Shaq doesn't get played anymore. I think when it was super OP, it was because you could put double blue buff on Ziggs and he just perma ult, and it was the most obnoxious thing ever. Thank God Riot removed that ability, but now he can't really carry late game, right? Because he just doesn't ult often enough to keep up with, you know, upgraded 4 costs and 5 costs. Additionally, although I don't hate GP having Rebel in center, so he gets his ult off as quickly as possible, but now he's forced to keep him clustered with the team.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit confused here. Pobe was running like 8 Rebels for a round there. Didn't really realize, I think, that he had the Rumble still in and didn't need that because he already had the Demolitionist synergy. And this round, oh man, almost actually getting taken out there by KC double. Astro Snipers again. It's just, I wonder if it's too... I guess greedy for Pobe to rush 9, because he could have accomplished what he does or what he has right now at level 8, and maybe rolling a Jinx 2 would have been important.
Agreed. I think he definitely could have looked for the Jinx 2. At the end of the day, he still needs other carries besides this Ziggs. I think he baited himself a little bit by getting the Gangplank, but you know, he doesn't really get all that much from leveling in terms of synergies here. So, you know, it's really expensive to go level 9. And you have to think about, okay, that's 66 gold that I'm going to invest. Is that better invested in my current board? And I think the answer in this case would have been yes, probably. But so this comp is already hard to sort of win lobbies with. When you also have items on suboptimal units like a Ziggs late, it's really, really hard to even top 4. But it's still possible.
Yeah,
there it is.
Possible. Fortunately for Pobe, hits the Jinx 2. Probably actually puts a Star Guardian Spatula on Jinx, so she'll be able to deal true damage. That might be something that can save Pobe here.
Yeah, I think that would be a good move. Make sure that she doesn't have any issue with Bramble Vest or just high resistance. And yep, there he goes. He slams it. I think at this point, he's just trying to make whatever he can work because he realizes his comp has fallen off relative to other comps. And unfortunately, he never hit a Guardian Angel for Gangplank. So Gangplank is struggling to get multiple ults off. Looks in this fight, is he going to win? Okay, he's in there. Is that it? Oh, is that top 4?
Yeah.
No, it's top 5. Okay,
Not
but you should
quite.
Still be pretty happy with that considering the spot he was in.
Oh, definitely. Juan Z, though, going 8th place. A little bit reminiscent of his, last couple of games yesterday. A little bit of a struggle here. Shoemaker, AlphaGo as well. Man, this lobby is really, really kind of turned on its head, but something that is pretty consistent is that the European players are doing so well. All 3 of them are top 3 in this lobby right now, Primal. What do you make of that?
Is there like a chant for Europeans? Like, you know how you have USA? It's like EU.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very cool, but yeah, Europe, they're really good. And if people want to say EU greater than NA in Twitch chat, it's kind of hard to clap back at that. But really impressive performance from all three of these players. Voltarius we saw dominate day 1, and now he's sort of hitting his stride day 2. Lev D. Trotsky, despite having a pretty low roll game, still in first place. I would actually love to see what he transitioned his board into, because he's managed to not fall off tremendously. So the flexibility of the European players really coming into play.
Oh, definitely. You cannot count out Brazil, though, with Slooper. Slooper has managed to get 8 battle casts, and that's something we were talking about a decent amount yesterday with battle cast synergy. You're not really going to be dominantly winning lobbies unless you get 8 battle cast. We see Slooper right now on a 6-win streak, has an Urgot 2, didn't go for that Kog'Maw 3 like you said earlier, but instead chose to push levels, and I think he's in a great spot right now in this lobby.
I totally agree. And in addition to having the Urgot 2, he found a blue buff, which is awesome because it'll allow Urgot to get even more ults. And Urgot, if he just gets to a point where it doesn't even matter who his team is, he just 1v9s. If you position him correctly, he'll just keep ulting, keep getting mana cost reductions, and becomes a huge threat. Now he goes 9, he gets Fizz in there, so he gets Infiltrator as well. I love the spot that Slooper is in. He could potentially win the lobby from this point. So really well played by Slooper.
I definitely agree. Wait, KC double hit Teemo 3 again? What?
How? Is he just uncontested every game? Like, what's going on here?
I guess so. I think actually he is uncontested for multiple games in a row. KC double showing that prowess on the Astral Diapers composition to get to a point where he can reroll so much. He just hits that Teemo 3 so consistently. I feel like saying hitting Teemo 3 inconsistently shouldn't be in the same sentence, but it is here for KC double.
See, in Big Bang, any dream can come true. Even Teemo 3, me no scout, me no pivot. So I guess that's doubles his go for strategy, because look, if everyone else was playing Cybers, right, Astro Snipers appears to be completely open. Teemo at 3 is incredibly strong and pretty much just one-shots whoever he comes in contact with. There are threats to him, though. If Slooper manages to get a nice Urgot ult on the Teemo, then it's the fight's doomed immediately. So I'd like to just see Slooper use really good positioning to take care of things. But right now, the Teemo 3, he has a Karma, he has a whole team surrounding him. He's in a pretty safe position.
Yeah. All these compositions are so strong at this point here as we see KC double go up against Voltarius. EU versus EU right now. Teemo 3 is going to be enough to... Oh man, that was a huge Gnar ult there. With the
so
Teemo
good.
Shroom synergy, it takes out pretty much everything. A little bit of a miss on those Shrooms there, but it does not matter. These items are so good too. Double Giant Slayer, Trap Claw on the Jhin, got that blue buff, Ludens Morellas on the Teemo, and even the Ashe has a RFC Shojins. Like, this is just all so good. It's really panning out for double here.
Yeah, and in addition to all that, he has a Zephyr Blitz, right? And late game, that's a huge deal. Very hard to position around. To your point, the double Giant Slayer Jhin might actually even be out-damaging the Teemo at this point, particularly versus some of those tanky units like an Alawi 3. So this is actually a kind of a dream item scenario for double, and what you would look for when you're playing on a map like Big Bang.
Yeah, definitely. We have our final 2 here, but it won't end. Both players have high enough HP. Oh,
this
man.
Teemo, man. Oh
It's
my
so
god, this
insane.
Teemo.
Look at the Shrooms.
This Teemo is insane.
Man,
Okay,
that
so
is
it turns out
insane.
Teemo 3 is pretty good, Crone.
Yeah.
Kind of does a lot of damage. What do you do from this point if you're Slooper?
So a couple of things. The Jhin damage, as you said, it was strong. The Jhin damage actually matched the Teemo damage there, even though it's big numbers as we see when all the Shrooms fly out though. But if you're Slooper, I think it goes back to exactly what you said earlier. Urgot positioning. Urgot has to be able to hit this Teemo, but look at KC Double's positioning right here in protecting all those units. Even has Ashe not in the backline, so she is specifically in front of where Urgot would pull Teemo. This is an insane position choice here, and I think it might be why if doubles win, or if KC double wins this lobby, it might be why.
Exactly, and I think Slooper realizes his win condition, which is get the Fizz and the Nocturne on this Teemo. The one weakness of Double's positioning right now is that he does have all his carries in one place, but unfortunately the Teemo just nukes everything and no one gets to play. Oh, is that Urgot with the pull? Urgot with the pull! Okay, I don't think that's enough though, because Jin is just as much of an issue, and it looks like Double is going to be able to take this game.
Man, that was crazy. The exact thing
on on KC Double's side, and KC Double bringing it home for France and EU. Really, really solid performance from the 16-year-old prodigy.
An interesting thing to think about is that if KC Double had gotten second or first in game number 1, this would be over right now. KC Double just got back-to-back first places, is going to be on the top of the standings right now with 23 points, man. This is so insanely well played by Europe right now, being the top 2.
Yeah, and this next game is going to be super interesting, right? Because now there are 2 people who can potentially get a first. If there's only one person that can get it first, maybe what other people do in the lobby is they try to deny that person units, because all that matters is not allowing that person to hit their first place win condition. But at this point, there are 2 people. It's really, really hard to grief 2 people at once. So at this point, everyone else is kind of at the mercy of Lev D and KC Double.
Definitely, but we'll be moving into the next game soon. I'll be stepping out, but I'll be back later. Primal, take it away with Doa. Hope you have a fun next game.
I'm sure we will. Doa, we always have fun casting